Common question that we get is how to request an administrative license suspension hearing in a Georgia DUI. For a lot of people, this can be their first time dealing with the law, having to go through the criminal justice system, and it can be intimidating and unwieldy for them. By the end of this video, you'll have an understanding of how to request an administrative license suspension hearing and what needs to be in that request for it to be valid. I'm Paul Ghanouni, founder and managing attorney at the Teen and Young Adult Defense Firm, where we focus on protecting the futures of people in their teens through their mid-20s when they get in trouble with the law. This video is general information. It's not specific legal advice for your case. If you need specific legal advice for your case, please contact our office to schedule a complimentary defense strategy meeting. And I would caution you on requesting this hearing without knowing if that's what you need to do in your case, because there are some strategic reasons that it can make sense to request this hearing, or it can make sense not to request this hearing. And going through that with counsel is going to be the best way to make that decision. Now, if you know you need to request an administrative license suspension hearing for your Georgia DUI, there are certain steps that you need to take. You're probably wanting to request this hearing because you received a DDS 1205 when the officer charged you with DUI. Now, on the back of that form are actually instructions on how to request this hearing, which is what we're going to go over through the course of this video. One of the key things to know when you're requesting an administrative license suspension hearing is that the request has to be postmarked within 30 days of your being charged with the DUI charge. The next thing to be aware of is you have to include a $150 check to pay for that administrative license suspension hearing. Now, while it's not a requirement, we always recommend that you send off these requests via certified mail. And when you send it via certified mail, you're going to have documentation that shows that you sent off this request, what date it was sent, and they're going to have to sign for it to show that they received it. And you'll be able to track the fact that you made this request so that there can't be any question of whether you conducted this hearing within that 30-day deadline or not. When you send off this request, you're going to send it to the Department of Driver Services at their Records Management Department, which is at P.O. Box 80447 in Conyers, Georgia 30013. Now, there's certain information that must be included in this request. You have to include your name as it appears on your driver's license, so make sure that's there exactly as it appears on your driver's license. Your current address, because that's where they're going to send information about the case, even if it's not the same address that appeared on your driver's license. Your driver's license number, and if you're wondering, well, I don't have my driver's license, where am I going to get my driver's license number from? That 1205 form that the officer gave you when the officer took your driver's license has your driver's license number on it, so you can get your driver's license number off of that form. You also need to include your date of birth as well as your telephone number. And if you have an attorney representing you in the administrative license suspension hearing, their information as far as their name, their address, and their telephone number need to be included as well. But really, if you have an attorney in this process, they should be assisting you with this. You also need to include what you're challenging about the administrative license suspension hearing and a list of any witnesses you plan to call at that hearing. If you're wondering what to use, what type of format, how to make this look, the Department of Driver Services has actually created a form that you can use in requesting this hearing. And that form is available on our website. You can click and download that form at the link on our website. And it has all of the blanks that you need to fill out. At the top of the form, you're going to mark whether you're doing this for a DUI administrative license suspension or an implied consent suspension. Now, the DUI administrative suspension is usually when you took a test and your test results were over the legal limit, while a implied consent suspension is usually when you refuse to take a test or they're alleging that you refuse to take a test. And then they're going to have all the other information that needs to be filled in there on this form, and you'll fill it out, you'll sign it, and you'll send it in to the addresses we've outlined. Send it via certified mail with the money that is required. If you do this via money order, make sure that you keep the stub. All this stuff, when you get the certified mailing put together, when you have the form filled out, when you have the money order, we recommend taking pictures of it on your phone. That way you don't lose it. That way it's easier than getting a photocopy. And when you take the pictures on your phone, email it to yourself or email it to somebody else. So that way if your phone breaks, if your phone gets lost, something happens to your phone and you lose your pictures, you still have another copy of it. Because if this is not done properly within the 30 days that's allowed by the law, you lose the opportunity to challenge the administrative license suspension. If you're facing a Georgia DUI and you're unsure of whether you should be completing an administrative license hearing request, you don't know what this is, if it applies to you, contact our office to learn how we can help you go through that determination and to help you represent you through the process.